We're going to start the day. I'm going to introduce Captain Josh Phillips from the Sheriff's Office. He's going to cover a couple things real quick here.
Good morning, Captain Josh Phillips here with Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office. Just want to briefly touch base on a case that we had earlier this week, and it's kind of a public safety announcement kind of for the citizens of Minnehaha County and the residents of the city of Sioux Falls. Us in the PD and other jurisdictions have a lot of these similar cases, but when we took a call from an individual in rural Minnehaha County that had received a phone call which she believed from the FBI. It was a spoof phone number that showed up as an FBI phone number, and that individual impersonated himself as a federal agent, informed this lady that a vehicle that she had recently sold was used in a drug trafficking ring down in the Texas area. They informed her to go get gift cards. She proceeded to get gift cards in the amount of around $7,000. They instructed her to then scratch off the back of the gift cards and provide her with the numbers, which gives them the monetary value of those gift cards. They proceeded, this whole time they kept her on the line. This is a tactic that they use. They'll say they'll arrest you if you hang up, and we're right outside your door if you hang up. And then this victim proceeded then to withdraw a substantial amount of money, over $20,000, and then overnight it to these individuals who were threatening to arrest her or she'd be a part of the conspiracy of the drug trafficking. We were able to intercept that package and get it stopped, and hopefully we'll get that money returned. But these are daily occurrences that occur here. The Sheriff's Office, the PD, any federal jurisdiction will not ever ask you to send them gift cards. We'll never tell you to put money in a box and send it to us. If you believe you have a warrant, you go to gotwarrants.org, or you call the Sheriff's Office. If you receive a phone call that you think is still suspicious, the number's coming back as one of your local jurisdictions, hang up, and then you do your diligence, calling the non-emergency number 605-367-7000, or you call the PD, the Sheriff's Office, or wherever municipality you work in, and call them and ask them. We do hang flyers on doors for warrants when our deputies or our warrant task force is out looking for an individual, maybe on a lower level offense. We'll hang some flyers. We do send mail, but if any questions, just call your local jurisdiction. Again, we never accept payment by gift card. We'll have you come down to the jail and take care of that. Just had one a couple years ago in the total of $200,000 that this couple had sent. These individuals are very good at what they're doing. So good that a local establishment last week in rural Minnehaha County, food establishment got a delivery call to another area that they don't normally deliver, and they delivered. They went to the address, knocked several times, no one answered. They called the number back, and it was a gentleman with a foreign accent, stated that I'll be there in 15 minutes, but just keep knocking. Is the red pickup in the driveway? Yes, it is. Okay, well, what this individual did is our victim probably was sending money to these scammers for a long period of time, and then somehow lost contact with the scammers. Either he figured out he's getting scammed, or maybe ran out of money, and these scammers will send somebody to the address to hopefully recreate and get the process started back up, get a new phone number for the victim. And they're very persistent in what they do. The whole point of this today is to, if you have somebody in your family that maybe is receptive to maybe something like this, please have a talk with them. Our local delivery services, their FedEx, UPS, they do a good job of kind of our banks of stopping some of this. But I'm telling you, this goes on all over the country, all day, every day, a substantial amount of money. And the more we can talk about it, hopefully these individuals will stop sending these people money. We're not going to arrest you for some made-up story in Texas. We'll come and talk to you in person or have you come down to your local law enforcement establishment. Any questions?
The FBI scammer, what was the money supposedly for?
They said her vehicle was used in a drug trafficking ring and they had stopped it, and she was going to get implicated in the charge if she didn't produce this monetary amount, and usually they'll say, hey, we want you to come down to the office. So they continue to talk to that person as they're driving down, hey, before you do that, we want you to get these gift cards, and then scratch them off and give us the contents of those gift cards. And they're very good at what they do. A lot of times it sounds like they're in a conference room. We'll call some of the numbers when we get them, and it sounds like they're in a big call center. I mean, it's just something they do all day, every day. And with the PD probably gets a lot more than we do, but we get them all the time, several times a week. So
What kind of gift cards are they asking for?
these ones were like Nike gift cards, anything they can get. And even like the $20,000 that was sent overnighted, they were able to obtain the tracking number. With a tracking number, then you can log in and then change the destination. And some of these cases, that money will go to another individual that doesn't know they're getting scammed. And the scammers will say, hey, we're going to send you this $20,000, but we want you to forward it on to another, you're going to help my uncle in Seattle. And so then it keeps getting rerouted, and eventually I get back to the scammers. But there's a lot of pieces in there. It's just not this lady here. It's probably going to somebody else who thinks, just keeps getting this money all the time, and she's forwarded on to these different locations, and it gets forwarded on, and it's a circle.
When you
So,
guys intercepted it, where was it supposed to be sent to?
California, presumably, and I'm presuming it was going to get rerouted somewhere in there to a different location, so.
So she lost that money on a Nike gift card?
There was, I'd probably say there's a lot of them were $500 gift cards, whatever I think she could grab. I'm not specific, but I know Nike, Amazon, iTunes gift cards, you name it, and she was getting them.
And how old was this victim?
Probably 60s?
Woman in her 60s?
Yes,
And rural Minnehaha?
yes. And like another example, recently, within the last year, a couple had given around $200,000, believing they're assisting somebody, and we tried every action to get them to stop, and the scammers would tell them, hey, the cops are going to come, but they're in on this, whatever, and so basically we had to bring Sheriff Milstead to this residence, so then they would kind of see, hey, this is a scam. And he sat down and talked to them, and eventually they stopped, but it continued for some time to really have this settle in. But a lot of these people they are elderly individuals, not always, but they're not up to date on social media maybe all the time, or watching the news, and they are more receptive and caring and want to help people, and so these scammers really hook into that, and that's our issue. So, anything else?
What time did her incident occur, and when did she report it?
When did she report it? I believe it occurred Tuesday of this week. We were able to get it stopped yesterday.
And could you spell your name, just so I can-
Phillips, Phillips, first of Josh. Thanks.
Okay, I'll just introduce myself, Sergeant Rob Forster, last name's Forster, and I'm a sergeant in the Crimes Against Persons section in investigations here at the police department. Two specific calls that I want to talk about real quick. The first call occurred last night about 6:30 p.m. in the area of 11th and Summit here in Sioux Falls. Officers were dispatched to that area for the report of a stabbing. When they arrived, they found a victim in pretty critical condition. At that point, he was a little combative with the officers just because of his medical condition, not that he was fighting the police officers or anything like that. They did what they call a load and go with the ambulance, meaning they took that patient directly to the hospital. When he got to one of the local hospitals with his condition, he went right into emergency surgery. He remains in critical condition at this time. And through the investigation, it led him back to an apartment in that particular area where they learned that the victim and the suspect in this case got into a fight because the suspect believed that the victim and another female that was with our victim were plotting against him in some manner. He wouldn't really give us specifics on that, but due to the ongoing investigation, I wouldn't share anything more than that at this point anyway. So at that point, a Sioux Falls resident, first name Jared, J-A-R-E-D, middle name Lee, last name is Laframboise, L-A-F-R-A-M-B-O-I-S-E. His date of birth is 1/10/2002. He's an 18-year-old male. He was lodged at the Minnehaha County Jail for aggravated assault and simple assault. Detectives were called in for that due to the condition of the victim. Search warrants were served in the area for that crime scene, and we had a successful conclusion. At this point, our victim remains in critical condition, but due to the quick actions of the fire department, the paramedics, and the police on scene, and also the great work that our local hospitals do, we were able to preserve his life for now. Any questions on that one?
Did you recover the weapon?
We did.
How old is the victim?
The victim, I believe, is 21 years old.
And where was the stab at on the body?
I wouldn't share that at this point right now, due to being an open investigation.
There were multiple wounds?
Yes,
Is it a male or female victim?
it's a male victim.
And Lee is L-E-E?
Yes, ma'am. The second one I'd like to cover real quick, we would like anyone in the public that may have some more information about this to utilize Crime Stoppers or call down to the police department. I gotta find the time here. About 7:30 last evening, we were dispatched to the area of 3rd and Columbia on the east side of town for the report of a weapons violation. A citizen was out in the area with their children, and they saw a smaller red 4-door car with a couple unknown males in it. That vehicle drove around the area, ended up stopping, and one of the males got out of that vehicle, and the citizens believe they produced some type of a handgun and pointed it towards something. We don't know if they pointed it towards a structure, or if there were people in the background, or if there was somebody else in the area they're having a dispute from, because it was kind of a distance away. We were able to get some evidence from that citizen. They were able to get a picture of the car, so detectives are working on maybe trying to identify that. We hadn't had any other reports in that area from any victims, so if there is anybody in that particular area of town that received any damage or heard anything, please call in and utilize Crime Stoppers for that. That's all I have to cover today in the log. Does anybody have any questions about anything else? All right, thanks for your time.